And that's kind of what today is about. Today, it's tough to do this one this week because of this NAMM show. I should be preparing for the NAMM. But I thought we would talk about NAMM stuff today. In fact, I was going to format the new videos and stuff this way, but instead, hold on, let me find it. Okay, ready? Here's the new stuff coming from those companies. From Way Huge Pedals, the new stuff is the Conquistador Fuzz and the Russian Pickle. So, which we kind of assume that when they say Russian Pickle, it's probably going to be, they're going to be a kind of like a big muff Russian kind of fuzz pedal. MXR has the Il Diavolo, the new MXR 10 and 6-band pedals, the MXR sub-octave bass fuzz, and the MXR Dynacomp Mini. And then they're re-releasing all of those Jimi Hendrix pedals again. Remember the Jimi Hendrix Fuzz Face, the Octava, the Univibe, the Band of Gypsies Fuzz, and the Mini, and a new Jimi Hendrix Mini Wah. And then they're also going to have a gold Crybaby pedal. I assume it's got to be some kind of anniversary. It's the GCB 95G gold Crybaby pedal. It's $250 map street. So it's definitely some kind of anniversary pedal. So that's what's coming from those guys. What else is, let's see. What else is new? What pickups do you think are the best to go with my Schecter? That's from Cade. Well, I mean, I like Seymour Duncan's, so does Schecter, right? Seymour Duncan's a good pickups. I mean, for me, if you're using a Schecter, I like Bare Knuckle. I like Seymour Duncan. Those would be the two I suggest looking at. Let's see. What is your favorite fuzz pedal and why? My favorite, that's from Jet Black. My favorite fuzz pedal. Well, I have one that Lawrence built. It's called, hold on, I'm going to tell you. It's called the Green Russian. And that's from LPD Pedals. I don't know if this is a production pedal or what. Through communication with him, he brought it and let me try it. Actually, it's not even true. He let my friend try it, and then I got to try it after that, and then I wouldn't give it back to him, so I bought it off of him. So I really like that pedal. But the other one I use is the Way Huge Javelina, and the reason I like that one is the same as this one's. This one I like. Okay, so this one I like because I had the ZVEX Fuzz Factory, and I sold it, and it's a great pedal, but it was so over the top sometimes. And this sounds like that, but not so over the top. And then the Way Huge, I like it because it's not so over the top. I like to have one fuzz that's like crazy and one fuzz that's light. Harry's saying the new AX8 at NAMM. Yeah, that's what I heard too, right? I'm definitely going to be checking that out. That's on the list of things I'm really highly interested in and I want to see and talk to them about. Is the germ worth... Okay, so the next one was L3WISH. It's like a license plate. Is the Jim Jr. worth buying? Oh yeah, he says he's 16. He doesn't have much after buying a hollow body. The Jim Jr. is very nice. It's if you want a Steve Vai guitar, it's a great guitar. Although there's at that price point, there's a lot of great Ibanez guitars. Let's see. Fam says, do you think Strymon will bring out a larger Riverside? I don't know. I know they got some great stuff coming, right? So I don't know about that one. Jamico says, got a Friedman Runt 20 head on the way. Yeah, they're cool. I really like it. Mine's over this way. My camera's backwards for what I see. It's right there. And I really like it through a greenback selection, which is nice. Phil, what's your opinion of the roller type string trees? Useful or waste of money? No, I have them on my Strats, right? I mean, anything that reduces friction is going to improve the guitar for sure. Shaman Blue says, summer NAMM tickets? Yeah, I've said that before. I'm going to have 16 NAMM show tickets for the summer NAMM. It's in Nashville. Of the 16, I'll probably take 2 to 3 for myself to go, and then the rest we'll give away. So if you're interested in those, you just got to contact me, before then. So something to think about. Let's see. There's a big delay from when the questions go up until you see them. You know what it is? No, MB215, it might not be. I'm just all over the place. It just jumps. When I start reading one, then more come in. So it gets a little jumpy. Let's take a look, actually. There is... Hold on a second. There is almost 300 of you watching right now, which is amazingly crazy. It's awesome, but it's also hard to keep up. Okay, so, and I try not to miss any of them, but there's just no way. Next. Oh, wait, somebody's saying Jim Jr. is okay from Indonesia, and you can be assured that you can upgrade the guitar with the Edge Tremolo Steve Vais pickups. Yeah, it's like, that's from Simon. Simon, yeah, my experience with the Jim Jr. is very good, like I said. Tell us the story behind your new Jim. Jasmine. All right, Jasmine, here's what happened. So this funny story, if you haven't been to the NAMM show, what happens is it's like kind of like going out to lunch before you go grocery shopping. It's a good idea because you don't want to go to the grocery store hungry. It's really dangerous to go to the NAMM with any kind of like instinctual, want to buy product because you'll lose your sensibilities at the NAMM. So I knew the new Jims are highly rumored to come out. I've been wanting one, and so long story short, I found one on Reverb, and this is why the story's kind of funny. There was a dealer, and he had a price, and I gave him an offer, and he countered, and then I countered, and then he said he would take my offer as long as we did it off Reverb direct, and I wasn't comfortable with that, and so then, without me responding, I kind of got it out of my system, but then before the offer expired, he accepted it, so I was kind of obligated to buy it. So I bought it, and it was in very good condition. There's no chips, there's no dings. The neck looks fantastic. I mean, you can see it. It looks... So, I mean, it looks fantastic. The pickups are a little faded, right? That's to be kind of expected. No chips. The neck's in great shape. The frets were really dirty, really crusty. They need to be polished. The intonation be set. It needed a setup. New strings, all that stuff. But definitely cool, worth it. So I wouldn't buy from that dealer again. It was not. It was not a great experience. They took forever to ship it to me, but. I like the guitar. Next question. Jimmy Reed says, Joe Bonamassa or Gary Moore? Who would you like to receive a lesson from if you could? Also, who inspires you more? Well, if I had to pick from those two, I'd probably pick Joe Bonamassa, but to be honest, I wouldn't want to. I just because I don't think I can play at that level. I don't think they could teach me anything that I could comprehend. Right? They play so fast and so much better. If I was to pick a guitar player to get a lesson from, it would probably be Tremonti. I really like Tremonti as a person, so I like the medium. And who inspires me more? Gary Moore is fantastic, but Joe Bonamassa is great. I mean, I really like Joe Bonamassa. I'm a big fan. What are the best picks out there right now? I think those Prime Tones by Dunlop. I have them everywhere. I love them. I wish I hated them because they're not cheap. So, thoughts on the new 2017 Gibson Les Paul Traditional versus the 2016-2017 pickup is different. Don't know about the difference in weight. David, I plan to be checking out the Gibsons thoroughly at the NAMM show, right? It's just something that's probably one of the most focused I'm going to be at the booth. So, just because I want to check out the stuff. You get so many questions about that. What would you recommend to start for a starter guitar under $300 shopping around for a 14-year-old daughter? For a 14-year-old girl, like electric guitar? You didn't say electric or acoustic. I'm going to assume you mean electric for $300. There's so many great guitars. I like all the Squier stuff that's in that range, in that price range. Schecter guitars, Ibanez guitars. I mean, there's so many. It's tough. You know what I highly recommend? Take her to some music stores and let her touch guitars. You know what I tell people? This is the honest goodness truth. Whether you've been playing guitar for 6 years or 6 minutes, if it's uncomfortable at 6 minutes of playing, it'll be uncomfortable at 6 years of playing. Just let her touch guitars. She'll be able to figure it out. And then from there, you figure out budget, right? And you go from there. And if you end up buying online, you buy online. But she's got to touch stuff. What are your thoughts on the modern planer tellies? Oh, I love them. They're great. The only thing I don't like, John, about them is the bodies are inconsistent in weights. Some of them are so heavy. And if you don't mind that, then there's no big deal. But sometimes, a 10-pound Telecaster is is tough. RDV said current amp, question mark. I didn't know if it question, like what's my current amp? Okay, what are the, oh, let's go down some more. Let me go back because I'm missing some guys, so let me try to scoop some of you guys up. Why do you say Univibe should go in the front of and a chorus in the loop? Why do you say the Univibe should go in the front and the chorus in the loop? I don't. So you must be talking to somebody else. Because I put them both, if I use them, I would put them both in the front of the amp. Me personally. What new technology and guitar to buy in 2017? Ooh, that's a good question. Well, the guitar in 2017, I don't know what the answer is going to be for me. Technology-wise, I mean, if an amp counts, I mean, I'm really interested in the Senzera stuff. Martin wants to know if I'm going to be live streaming at the NAMM. You know, I think I am. I have every intention to. This is my first NAMM going there to do YouTube type videos. And so I'm definitely on the learning curve where a lot of YouTubers have been doing this a lot longer and doing reviews. So I'm going to really be working hard to do everything I'm supposed to do. I really just, I'm hoping inspiration will hit me as I go, right? And I find cool stuff. Sometimes I'll do live and sometimes I'll shoot it up. But I plan to shoot out stuff fast. If you guys have been following me since last year I was taking pictures like every 10 minutes at the NAMM show and uploading them on Facebook. I plan to do that as well this year, but through Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So I'll upload pictures like crazy. Anything I see, I'll just shoot that up. I'll shoot it up like constantly. Mustafa says Victory V30 or the Friedman Runt. Well, I think the Friedman Runt is what I picked. I think the Friedman Runt is one of the best amps of that style to come out in a long time, right? I think they can improve it a lot by putting an EQ section on the clean, but let's see. What else? How do you... Oh, here's a good question. Bob Mason says, how do you have faith in buying a guitar online without ever picking it up? That's a great question, Bob. So everybody's going to have a different attitude and a different concept of how they buy online. Let me explain real quick. I have never bought a guitar online that I play. I play guitars and I collect guitars, right? I'm a gear guy, and this is what I do, right? I was listening actually to my wife yesterday. She was talking to some people that know the channel and know me and stuff, and they were asking her questions, and she said, as long as I've known him, he's just been buying this stuff, and since he's 15. And so it's true. Every week I'm buying, trading, selling, I'm getting gear, checking stuff out, and I'm putting my hands on stuff. So Bob, to answer your question, when I buy something online, I am very aware of the fact that it's not going to work out more than it is going to work out. And that's my experience online. Some people are going to say different. Some are going to have great experiences. Some are going to have bad. I'm batting like a 50-50, and I'm just being nice. It's probably more like a 60, it's been sucky, and 40, it's been great online. But I have to take the chances because there's no way to get a gem, 1991 gem. There's just no way to put your hands on it. So stuff like that. But in practicality, think about this. This Gretsch, I have no idea because I'm looking backwards. This Gretsch, I didn't buy online. I played it and then I bought it. The acoustic, I played it, then I bought it. The PRS, I played it, then I bought it. This gem, played it and I bought it. The Les Paul, I played it and bought it. That Strat, I played it and bought it. I mean, almost all my guitars, I played them and bought them. I didn't buy them online. But some of the collection pieces, I have to get online. So L3WISH says, Joe Satriani or Paul Gilbert? My top two favorites. I love Joe Satriani, but I am a huge Paul Gilbert fan. What Hollywood actor would you play? Oh, God. Chris K says, what Hollywood actor would play you in the Philip McKnight movie? Well, I would extrapolate that like every movie, they would find a thinner, better looking guy to play me, and based on that, I don't know. Oh, some bald actor that's cool. I hope, because the haircut would be important. They'd have to find a guy willing to shave his head. Eric wants to know, what are my thoughts on the Boss GT8? I love the GT8. In fact, I've said this before. Those, if I didn't have pedals and I was going to go to processors, me personally, not for sound, not saying it's the best, I'm comfortable with the GT8 series, the GT10, the GT8. I'm trying to remember. I'm doing off memory. The GT10, I think, is the one I got rid of, and I was sorry that I got rid of. But it might have been the GT8. Does it have the 5150 preset? I thought that was a great preset. So, Dylan wants, what are you excited to see at the NAMM? Dylan, I am excited for two things at the NAMM. So, one, I'm going to be at the press conference with John Mayer when John Mayer talks about the new amp, and it's going to be a very exclusive, small room. And I'm very excited to see John Mayer. I'm very excited to hear him talk about the amp, and I'm very, it's very cool because it's really I was asked to go because of the YouTube channel. So in retrospect, I mean that's a big deal for me, right? Like, wow, I can't believe they even called me, much less asked me to come to do this thing, to watch it, and I get to videotape it. You guys will see that. That's something I might stream live, right? The thing about that is that stuff I might stream live on Facebook or YouTube, but like I said, I will be keeping you guys posted, I promise. But that's it. I'm excited about that. I'm really excited to do the interview on Saturday with Paul Reed-Smith and interview him. Again, they asked me if I was willing to do that, and I was like, absolutely. In fact, I would have begged you to do it, so I'm glad they asked me to do it. And what else am I excited to see in NAMM? I'm really excited to see those new Ibanez's with the stainless steel frets and the new looks and the new feels. I think those are going to be great. What else? I'm trying to think what else. I mean, there's so much stuff at the NAMM, but that's it. Those are the first things I'm thinking of. Let's see. Reflection 1989 says, "Hey Phil, what are your thoughts on the LTD guitars? I got an EC401 series and it plays really well for the price point." The EC stuff is the EC401. The Eclipse guitars are fantastic. I for some reason like the traditional look of the single cut guitars like Gibson, but I really honestly believe like the Eclipse stuff is better. It's just better, plays better, feels better, probably sounds better. I'm not sure. I couldn't, that's a taste thing. I couldn't argue that. But no, great guitars. In fact, I think that's where I think the Eclipse series and the Viper series is where the LTD series really came alive because it gave a lot of players a choice to get a great guitar over the Epiphone and Gibson guys, and not so much just be a copycat, because it is cool. They kind of streamlined it, made it a little modernized, right? Give it a little new vibe. So really cool stuff. LTD is definitely great, and especially if you're a little older like me, you remember when no one could afford an ESP and you never saw them. And then I remember the first time going to Guitar Center and seeing LTDs, and I'm like, I can't believe this. These are the guitars that you couldn't even look at in music stores, and now you can afford them. Let's see. Aiden wants to know, what amp do I like under $500? The amp, that's a tough question, because that's a question of, what do you need it to do, right? I think of amps like guitars as tools. So if you said, hey, what tools do you like under $500 to build a shed versus fix your car? That's two different questions. So I'm going to give you three scenarios real fast. What amp do I like under $500? That's tube. Well, I would like the Classic 20 by Peavey. I like the Blues Junior for $500. I like the Super Champ X2 for $500. These are tube amps. And I'm trying to think of another one. And the Black Star 5 watt, right, for $500. Those are all under $500. Some right at it, some right below it. Very good stuff. And under $500, solid state, like Technology digital amps. The Katana stuff's really cool. I like the Mustang, like the Mustang 3 is under $500. Very cool. These are definitely under those radar. The Cube stuff by Roland's always been really good for solid state, kind of digital amps. So, and then if you were like, what big amps, like for a loud amp, $500, I don't know. That's a tougher one. I would probably, then we'd have to go used, right? To find something. And then I would probably say a Hot Rod Deluxe used for about $500 or less would be great. Let's see. Next question. And like I said, I know I'm jumping around. Let's go one more. Let's see. Somebody wants to know if I've seen, Shane wants to know if I've seen the new Vox MV50 amps. I have not. Okay, wait, those are the new mini ones, right? Yes, I have seen them. Yes, I just got the email. I'm getting emails like now from crazy. I just got Seymour Duncan's list of stuff that's coming out. They got some new pedals and new. They have a new hybrid half passive, half active pickup and a crazy delay pedal that's off the charts. And then Melio03 says, Phil, opinions on the Jet City Custom 22. I think it's great. I don't know if I regret it, but I thought about buying one of those and sending it to Soldano to have him mod it, and I never did it, and I don't want to say regret not doing that, but it would have been a great amp to do. It's a great amp. Next is, I have a, oh, okay, this is Griffin. Griffin says, I have a Fender DeVille 410 I am taken care of for live shows. Oh, yeah, it's a loud enough amp. Jet Black says, Phil, have you ever tried DOD pedals? The Bone Shaker, Corsica. Oh, of course. Yeah. I have 340 pedals, so I have DOD pedals. My favorite DOD pedal is, there's probably one right here. Definitely. I have them in racks underneath me. Oh, here. This is my absolute favorite DOD pedal. That guy right there. That envelope filter. If you want an envelope filter that's not $100 or $200, that's the one. And this one is... Oh, no, this one's made in the USA. This one's made in the USA, but there's a Chinese one that's just as good, too. The new one's good, but get the old one. That's a great pedal. DOD, you know, back in the day, you know, DOD is what you bought when you couldn't afford Boss, right? But still was good stuff. You know, hit or miss. They had some not exciting stuff, but then some good stuff. There is Michael McVeigh says, online lessons, your input. Michael, I've touched on this on a video before when it comes to lessons, and I always say this over and over again. It's not lessons, it's practice. We all know that, right? You know, when people say to me, my kid, like if my neighbor came up to me and said, hey, my kid's been playing for 5 years, he's never taken a lesson, he's amazing. And I said, well, yeah, of course. I mean, of course you can be amazing. You don't have to take lessons to be good. That's a fact. However, you do have to practice, and not everyone has great practice habits, and not everybody can really instinctively figure out what is a great path for them to take. So it's on you. If you think you can figure this out and you can do this, do it. If you think you just need a little guidance, like maybe some books or a video or an online course, and you think you'll have it then you should do that. If you feel a little lost or overwhelmed, don't ever quit. Just find the source that gets you motivated to practice. I promise you, in the end, the practice is what's going to pay off. I always tell people, I go, do you care if the pilot had been flying for 10 years or if he has hundreds of hours in the sky, right? You don't care how long he's been a pilot, you care how many hours in the sky. It ultimately be how many hours of practice you put in. That's the question I get a lot, is how long before you're a good guitar player? And I say, well, you want me to say it in years, but it's really in hours of practice. So if it inspires you, do it. But if you want my input on whether I think they're good, of course I think they're good. I think all forms of information is good. It's just better and better and better. But I always tell everybody, don't forget this idea. I love this idea. Don't think of private lessons or going to lessons as that's the only thing. You do that and you don't do the other. It's really, you just, if you ever get stuck, do online lessons. But like I said, if you get stuck, find a local guy and help you fix, get through that little sticking point. So let's see. Nathan wants to know, have you seen fret locks? They're one string capos. I have not, but I'll have to check that out after. How? Fam wants to know, will PRS bring out some pedals? That's a very interesting question. I'm supposed to... I'm drinking coffee. And I'd like to point out, I have a Malin Amps mug. Mark gave me this, not to do the review, but when I did the review, he gave me it to say thank you for doing the review of his amp. But anyways, I'm trying to drink so I don't say anything I'm not supposed to say. I don't believe there are PRS pedals coming in the next 12 months. There's not any coming in the next year. So there you go. That's what I know for a fact. Not any this year. Let's see. Next was best Fender bedroom amp. Oh, somebody says, oh, they're just saying best Fender bedroom amp is the Mustang. Roger wants to know, do my teachers Skype? The teachers I have, they do. In fact, I'm also working on, somebody suggested KuCam, so I set up KuCam, and I'm working on that too. I'm very interested, as anyone who's in the industry, I'm very interested in this idea of doing things online and having them in person too. I don't think, like I said, I don't have a strong philosophy of this is the only way that people can learn or think. So I'm very open to that. So yes, the teachers do Skype. We have it set up that way as well. Sometimes just because students can't make it one week and the makeups get a little tricky, so then they're Skyping. Dan Trope says, Dan, by the way, thank you. He sent me some pics and a t-shirt. It was great. It was really cool because I just kind of walked in and my wife's like, there's pics and t-shirts here. And I was like, it's crazy. That's awesome. Thank you, Dan. Here's a funny thing, Dan. You sent me a Fender t-shirt. You know, Fender's never given me a Fender t-shirt. So it's just kind of cool. It's my first, I think it's my first free Fender t-shirt. So I have a Joyo Yin Yang and I love it. I'll have to check it out. You know, I was just showing the that Joyo, the green pedal, the one I had Lawrence take apart one of the live streams, to my friend Matt, who's a teacher, and he was loving it. And we were just talking about that. The Melio 3 Marshall Power Brake versus using a volume pedal to crank the tubes but control the volume. Which is better? Melio, that's a hard thing. I have the power brake and I have the volume pedal. I prefer just doing the volume pedal. It's just better for me. The power brake is great, although I find when you attenuate the amp, sometimes there's just, I've been told there's only a small window of attenuation you can do on an amp and it still sounds good, and I kind of find that to be true for my ears too. The Two-Stet says, play at least 15 minutes a day minimum. Great advice, Two-Stet. I always tell people frequency over, I'm messing up my own saying, but I'm agreeing with Two-Stet. I'm agreeing with you. Basically, yes, I agree. If you do it more often, even if it means shorter amounts than doing a long piece and then taking hiatuses, long hiatuses. Pump Murder says, cheap amp and expensive guitar, or expensive amp and cheap guitar? We all love that question. Everybody's going to have a different answer. I would say, I've thought about it because that question comes up and I keep changing my answers, and I don't mean to be wishy-washy, but I have a new answer and I'm going to probably stick to it forever, which is this. I think if you're a live performer, it's get an expensive amp and a cheap guitar, because the guitar takes so much abuse and the amp needs to perform, and it's going to be the sound. At home, I would rather have a nice guitar and a cheap amp. Because at low volumes, I don't think an expensive amp really gets to shine. That's where some of the frustrations come in for guys like me. Playing at home with the kids in the house, I'm just trying to keep the volume low. The amp, you know, and so you know, Sammy Ash, when he did that live thing with me, we talked after the event, and he said the same thing. He doesn't get to turn up his Marshalls, and so he goes, he feels like they're wasted in the idea that where they really come alive, he doesn't get to play on that volume level. So next one is, if Brad Pitt shaves his head, then maybe he can play you in a movie. Man, he's awesome, though. You know, right? You got to admit, he was one of those guys you didn't think he can act, and all of a sudden he just started making great movies. Yes, Tony93666 says Blues Junior is really good enough to gig. Yes, it is. I think thousands of people every week are gigging in this country with a Blues Junior. In fact, God, I'm trying to think. There's just, I mean, I know a lot of personal friends that play with the Blues Junior every week, like I said, for a living. So let's see. Are you happy? Okay, so I'm trying to say their name. You guys, these sign-ons are crazy. Requel Mix 99. We'll say whatever. Are you happy with the new American Professional line by Fender, or did you like the American Standard better? Okay, so let's talk about that. This is an interesting topic to talk about. The holidays came, and so you know that kind of really jacked up my videoing schedule, because you can imagine family in town, things going on, and there were some things I wanted to talk about with that. So here's the interesting thing. I really like the Professional series. I've stick by this. I think if you're A-Bing the two guitars, I think the American Professional sticks out just a little bit more as being a slightly nicer guitar. Do I think it's worth more money? I don't know. I just said, like I said, if they were the same price, I would probably buy the Professional. Now, the Professional being more money, I don't really think I'm really to step up. Because, and if you have a Standard, would I get rid of it? No, because obviously me personally, I didn't get rid of my Standards to get Professionals. One of the interesting things about the new Professionals and the new Elites that was really interesting to notice is they no longer say Made in USA on them. They say Corona, California. And I've done as much research as I think I can, and I can't come up with an answer why they made that decision. It's an interesting decision to make, though, to take the Made in USA's off the guitars. The theory was, so you know, is that California now has a strict law about how Made in America gets put on, or Made in USA gets put on guitars. But through some online research, I can't see where that actually would prevent them from putting Made in USA on the guitars, especially since it seems like California's laxed that law a little bit in the interim of since when they did it, or since they've been doing it. So, but that's where that's at. Let's see. Hey, Lucas McKnight says we have the last name. Well, we're probably related then, right? You know what? There's a lot of McKnights, believe it or not, out there. So it's cool. Or maybe probably cousins or something. My mom is a huge that family tree thing. She's done all the lineage for all the years. She did it back when you had to go to the library and do it and do all that stuff. So. Dylan wants to know, Phil, tube or solid state? It's going to be tube for me, Dylan. I'll never pick a solid state over a tube amp. For me personally, but I don't have a problem with solid state. It's not that. It's just prefer, right? I prefer. So that's all it is. And why, I can tell you, it's just because to me, I just like the way the pedals sound through the amps, or how they warm, better. So let's see. Lada? Leodal? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm messing up her name. Gigan amps for me. DT25, a great amp, by the way. HRD Marshall 3310 and the Mustang 3. All great amps. The DT25 is a fantastic amp. It's one of those amps that really should have done way better than it did. I think the problem, sorry guys, I think the problem is that it was a little pricey. So I thought $1,000 for that 25 watt head was more than most people wanted to pay. I think that they could have got it at $699. I think the DT25 would have been the new standard for a cool gigging machine. So that's what's my 2 cents on that. Let's see. Ed Dana. You know, Ed, that's a good example. The Blues Junior is perfect for gigging. I was going to say, Ed is definitely uses the Blues Junior. So he uses the DeVille. It's too heavy to haul. Yeah. So, yeah, a Blues Junior. I can't see why a Blues Junior wouldn't work, Ed. So, yeah, and I know you used one before. So, thank you for chiming in. That's, in your opinion, let's see. Heroes in Heaven wants to know, in your opinion, what is the best all-around distortion pedal, price and tone-wise? Okay, so the trick in that question is it's best all-around, but pedal for price. So, in other words, it's an economic choice. Is that what you're saying? So, best pedal for the price, all-around distortion pedal for the price. Oh, that's tough. It really, those questions are tough because it's really distortion is a flavor. So I would need to know what genre. Like I could easily say the Friedman or the 5150 for that, but I could also say the 68 or the Prince of Tone for me as those two pedals, right? So it's too hard to finite down. I can tell you what I'm using right now. I'm using the 68 a lot. So next is Liam wants to know if the Marshall valve states, do I like them? I do. I mean, I had one a long time ago. It was a good amp. I've always thought they were a cool idea, and doing these hybrid kind of things. Let's see. Any thoughts on Reverend Guitars? Yes, that's Tailwalker 36. I'm going to be checking them out. I regretted going to the booth last year but not playing the guitars. I plan to spend some time with those guys this year. I think they're one of those great guitar companies that kind of fall under the radar a lot. That's a big deal at this year's NAMM show. I'm not interested. In fact, I was asked by Fender if I was going to make an appointment with them to do a review of the Fender guys, Fender booth. No. Don't get upset with me, guys, but I have no intention to be at the Fender booth at this year at all. I don't plan to be at any booth this year that I think everybody else because there's so many great NAMM reviewers. The Premier Guitar, the Tone King are fantastic. They have so much information. I really just want to find things, the hidden gems, right? Kind of think of it like going on vacation and find those little shops. That's what I want to do this year at the NAMM show. I want to find the things that I think everybody might miss and spend some time and actually talk about them. Instead of giving you guys a taste test of everything, let's just see what's really cool and interesting out there. Let's see if we find something cool, right? So let's see if we can find a guy in Nebraska who makes the best amp ever in history, and no one knew who he was. Let's see. Martin wants to know, what do I think of any luxury cases versus the one that comes with my American Standards? You know, I'm horrible at this, Martin, because I don't use cases. I get rid of all the cases. I own one case. It's in the closet. That's it. I'm on gig bags. But you know, it's never a bad idea to improve the case of a guitar. I once was sitting in a room with one friend was bashing another friend by telling him how silly it was what he was spending for case on his guitar, and I thought, you know, yeah, except for it's like saying, it's like buying a better helmet. How do you tell somebody it's silly to do something that's going to ultimately protect your investment? I mean, it's not a bad investment to make things better. Yeah, let's see. There is. Oh, Eric Riley. Hey, Eric, what's up? And please stop by the Music Man booth. Of course. You know, Eric, and hold on a second. Eric mentioned that you guys, when you guys were at the clinic, that they mentioned an 8-string Majesty. I'm curious to see if they unveil anything as a teaser for that. So that'd be interesting. Let's see. Joe, I'm going to say Sergeant Prima, right? Joe Sergeant Prima, what's your opinion of the Fender M80 amps? Man, I remember them. I've seen one. That's about it. I mean, nothing stuck out bad or good about them. I just don't remember. Ken says, I love Hagstrom guitars. Do you? I do like Hagstrom. They have those really cool phenolic resin fretboards, right? It's like man-made fretboards. The H truss rod is really cool. Really good concepts. You know what's great about Hagstrom, Ken, if you're a Hagstrom fan, they were being distributed by a company called US Music, and now it's owned by Jam, a much bigger company. And I think this new company is really going to put some good people in focus behind that brand and get it out there more. They definitely have the money to do it, so hopefully they'll have the ingenuity. Dan Lopez, 2012. Hi, Phil. I love your live things. Ever use a Jetter GS124? You like it at all? The Jetter stuff is fantastic. I've not owned any, but I have tried them, a bunch of them through some friends, and for no reason other than I have so many pedals, sometimes I just can't afford everything or doesn't line up, to get one. But the Jetter stuff's cool. In fact, a friend of mine was just mentioning he just got a new Jetter pedal, but I didn't remember which one, so I'll probably be checking out what he got. Josh wants to know, Josh Evans, what do you think of the Vox AC4 and AC12? And AC30. Well, I had the AC4. I've never had the AC12. Is that the AC15 you mean? That's okay. So AC15 and the AC30. In my life, the AC4 fit the bill at the house. That's what I had. I liked it. I prefer the AC15 for tone just because it's like the Princeton or the 65 Deluxe Reverb. It's this classic amp that's not too crazy loud, but loud enough. Very cool amps. You can't go wrong. It's really, Josh, it's simple. How loud do you want the thing to be? So the AC30 will probably be the best sounding, but it's going to be loud, and you go on down from there. One of the best sounds I ever heard was a band called Foxy Shazam, and the guitar player was playing an AC30 hand-wired with a Strat Plus, and it was just amazing tone. So DBS says, Phil, EVH LBX or PV6505 Mini Plus? Don't care about USB and all that, just purely the tone. When they both came out, I loved a lot of things about both, but ultimately the EVH LBX, the one thing I will say about that is it is a legit sounding amplifier. You can really feel that they put a lot of time in the way that it sounds with tubes. And the new EVH LBX is going to be great with the clean channel. So if you're comparing those two amps, I would say wait till the new EVH LBX with clean channel comes out, and we'll see what happens. But I don't hate either one of those, so it's not a hey, get this one or not that one. I think the LBX is that much not better, but I prefer it that much more. So Phantom Riffs, I have an Electro Harmonix. Sorry, Phantom Riff says I have an Electro Harmonix Crayon full range overdrive. Any thoughts on if you have tried that? I haven't tried it. Yeah, it's just one of those pedals I haven't tried. I hear good things, but I think I saw Pete Thorne did it, right? I'm not sure if I saw that review, but it was good. But let's see. Next is, any tips for buying used gear? How to get good quality without getting ripped off? The only thing I can tell you is this. I hear everybody tell me what a smoking deal they get. It's like, I think used gear, especially online, is like Vegas. Everybody comes back with a story about how they got one over on the casino, yet the casinos get bigger and richer every year. So my point in this is, my tips are, trust your gut, right? If it feels wrong, don't do it. But more importantly, I will tell you this. If don't ever, actually, here's the deal. Here's the best advice. Ready? You will run out of money before they'll ever run out of deals. So that's the only good advice I got. Never, never lose your bearings because the deal is too good to be true. The truth is, there's always another deal. Like I said, your money will run out way before the deal is due. So don't worry. Harry says he's got the 68, Phil. Me too. It's amazing. It's a great pedal. I hope you like it. Let me know if you like it, Harry, because like I said, I think Lawrence really pays attention to each person that buys one and what they think of it, because they're like his babies, right? Let's see. Tibor Zeff says, who makes a guitar with a Gibson scale length and fretboard radius, but with a Strat style body? Well, Warmoth makes parts that do that. That's a great question. I don't know. A 24 3/4 scale Strat? I don't know. I will make a note of that. We'll look at the NAMM show and we'll see who does. And I'll put that up. That's a good thing to look for, right? Have you tried the new Zoom Multi-Effects amp boards? I have not. Gecko 7, but I've always liked Zoom, right? It's always been good stuff. Good stuff. It's that stuff that's like better than what it costs stuff, right? It's not, right? So great stuff. Andrew Raymond says, I personally love the Full Drive 2. Great versatility. It's like a tube screamer that works for everything. Yeah, good pedal. Okay, so Darkstorm979 says, is the Tremonti Wah by Morley worth getting over, say, a Crybaby? Well, Darkstorm, this is the easy part for that. The Tremonti Wah has two things that the Crybaby doesn't, and then if you need those two things, it's an easy answer. One, if you touch it, it comes on. So what happens is, if you don't like clicking on the wah and going manual, you just touch the Tremonti Wah and it's optical and it just comes on. So that's one feature. If you're looking for a switchless wah, the Tremonti's one point there. But the more important thing, the thing that they made different for Tremonti was, Tremonti's theory was that when you go into low frequencies of the wah and high frequencies, you're changing the way the distortion sounds, and especially the low frequencies, your distortion is not as saturated, right? So it has a boost control, and you set the boost so that when the wah kicks in, you don't lose any of that overall saturation. Or you can also use it, you can crank the boost, and so instead of stepping on a boost pedal for your solo and a wah, it's all in one. So it really does everything at the same time. Now, so Dunlop does make a Crybaby that has features like that, but if you're just taking a stock Crybaby wah, it's, do you need a wah that's going to be boosting your sound at the same time as wahing, and is it optical? There you go. I like the Tremonti Wah. I'm a huge Tremonti fan. I like the Tremonti Wah, but I end up with I have the Bad Horsey and the Maverick. Those are the two Morley Wahs I have. The Tremonti Wah, I really like it, but it's just a little over the top for what I do at home. But if I was gigging, I would probably look at that pedal for sure. Tony M says, a lot of people say that. I don't know. All right. A lot of people say that. There are 382 of you guys watching now. That is crazy. That's almost 400 people. You guys are awesome. That's great. Who makes it? Okay, let's see. Let's go down. Right. Next question. Let's scroll down. They're moving kind of fast. Next question is, oh, here you go, guys. It says Chris Mitchell. Chris Mitchell Guitars makes a 24 3/4 scale telly. Good to know. That's Bowling Paul. Bowling Paul, thanks for that. That's good information. Like I said, it's cool when you guys share stuff, because that's how we all learn, right? Let's see. Stone Creek Cinema says, for someone who plays Strats and thin neck guitars a lot, would a white Les Paul custom be something close to that, or would it be a big chunky neck? No, a Les Paul custom. Well, Les Pauls are easy. If it's a 60s neck, it's a little thinner. 50s neck's a little thicker. Most Les Paul customs have that 50s neck, because that's the style of guitar it is. So no, it's a thicker neck, right? So no, if you like thin necks, That's not the Les Paul. You want to look for anything that says 60s neck on it. And even then, because they hand sand necks, just like Paul Reed Smith and stuff, a lot of guitar companies hand sand necks. How aggressive the employee was can make the neck different. Shaman Blue said the Jaguar is 24 inch scale. Yeah, of course. And then the Mustangs and stuff, they're all shorter scales as well. Ruben Bernnecker. I'm going to say that's it. Ruben Bernnecker says, how does the Super Champ X2 react to pedals? It does really good. The Super Champ X2 is a tube power section amp with a solid state front end, okay? And although that sounds bad and little people get confused and they get upset with that, I find it works great because the pedals, it's the tube power section. The pedals essentially kind of color the sound, right? It'd be nice to have a tube preamp section, but it takes pedals well because that tube power section warms up those pedals and pushes that speaker really well. Let's see. Next question. Brandon No Way Back says, okay, Phil, if you try the Jerry Cantrell wah, you won't want to have any other. Yeah, I've tried it. I've tried all the wahs. And it's a great wah. That's the wahs I have now. I can tell you what I have. I have the mini wah because it's small and it's cool. I have the Japanese girl wah because I wanted to check it out and I did a video about that. It was really cool. It's small and it's more like an envelope filter. It's the most intense wah I've ever had. I have the Morley Maverick and the Morley Bad Horse E1, and I have the Buddy Guy wah, and I have the Clyde McCoy by Dunlop. And those are the wahs. And that's the thing with me. That's too many wahs, right? That's a lot of wah pedals, right? So I had to cut it off somewhere. Jerry Cantrell's a wah. There's a list I could give you of 10 great wahs that I think are fantastic. But again, you can only own so many. Let's see. Gil Lamb says, hi, Phil. My question is, since we can't share pictures on YouTube comments, do you mind if we do so on your Facebook page? No, do that. I'm trying to build a community of people where we all share information, right? And kind of do that stuff. So no, please always feel to that. And if you can't, email me and let me know. Because as far as I know, I don't have anything restricting anyone from posting anything on the Facebook. Because I wanted it to be that kind of place where we all share this stuff, right? Put stuff and so let's see. And let's see. Next is Rico says, any advice for someone who just became an outside rep, first outside gig, just left inside sales at KMC and joined a rep firm for EVH. Yeah, Rico, it's tough being an outside rep, right? I mean, you're in the industry. KMC was a big company, right? And they any advice? Oh, it's tough. I don't know. I don't have anything. Let me see if I can give you one nugget, one little pearl of wisdom, and I'll take coffee while I procrastinate. Yes. I'll tell you what I'll give you the advice and the idea that what I don't like about reps. Enjoy and embrace technology. I know there's this industry thing that says that the people who have shops and stuff are old school and they don't like technology, but boy, I sure would wish people would text me more than just walk in. Right? So yeah, just use more technology and don't be afraid to be aggressive. I find some reps are really aggressive. They never get under my skin. Some are never aggressive, and I constantly forget that I'm supposed to talk to them, and then weeks go by, and when they walk in, really they didn't do me or them any favor. So be aggressive. Nothing. Let the buyers tell you to go away. Just be nice. Let's see. AZDH85224. Well, obviously you live in Arizona and Chandler. Buying hundreds of pedals is a complete waste of money. Get a good Mesa Boogie and you will discover what real tone is. Okay, that's an interesting piece of advice. There's nothing wrong with that. That's an amp can do it all. But the truth is, we already know that. There's not like a mystical piece of information to most people. People don't buy pedals because they don't think amps have the tones they want. They buy pedals because, think of it like a Logic, like a pro musician, like the Edge from U2 and stuff. Those guys are using pedals just to recreate all the stuff live that they did in the studio, right? And if everyone says like, so let's use the logic, right? An amp does it all. Just use one good amp. Well, but yeah, if you record in the studio, you're not going to just use that amp. They're going to compress a little bit. They're going to add reverbs. They're going to fix it with effects, regardless if you use them or not. And so effects pedals just become this way of kind of replicating a sound, either your sound or somebody's sound that you're trying to copy. So, but some musicians really like to have, like, let's say not even a Mesa Boogie. You could just take a Fender 65 Deluxe and a Telecaster or a Strat or a Les Paul and just say that's all I use. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has a different method. For me, pedals are not about use of sound. They're about flexibility to just create whatever I feel like that day and not feel obstructed. But more importantly, I can't own 50 amps. I just can't. But I can own 50 pedals. It's a much easier. I'm okay with the limitations. I understand that this one pedal that says it sounds like an amp doesn't exactly sound like that. But for the one time I use it a year, that's a better, more practical payoff for me. But yes, Mesas are great, and there's nothing wrong with your logic. I promise. Great advice. Let's see. Next question is, what is your ideal? This is from Jeff Harper. What is your ideal? What is your idea on the Fender Bassbreaker 7 and Vox AC10 run together? Oh, like running the two amps together? I like running two amps together. An AV box is great. The only thing, Jeff, is if you're going to do that, I really recommend the Radial AV box. It's $99 and it's worth every penny. And try that. Harris wants to know, any thoughts on the PV Wiggy? 7th time asking. PV Wiggy. Is that amp that looks like a car dashboard? Is that it, Harris? If that is, let me know. If it is, I've never heard one. I've just seen it. I think that's what that is, right? So let's try that. There is next. Let's see. Teddy Phillips says Kramer versus LTD. That's tough, right? I'm going to pick LTD, but only because Kramer hasn't been really making product for a long time. So it's hard to judge a guitar that's older versus all the new stuff. But I can only go off of what I would pick. I would pick like an ESP Eclipse over a Kramer, like Pacer. But just preference, right? Okay, Patrick wants to know, for someone that has no experience with swapping out pickups, what do you recommend about looking for pickups and actually putting them in? Well, Patrick, it's easy. Stick with 2 conductor pickups, 2 wires, a ground and a hot. Don't worry about all the coil splitting and stuff like that if you're new and you just want to keep it easy, and that's the easiest thing. And then the next thing, I always tell everybody, the thing that frustrates me to no end when I'm repairing guitars is, you have a cell phone. I tell everybody, take pictures of everything. If you are, right, I can't speak for every technician out there, but here's what I think, for me personally. If you decide to try and do something yourself, right, like install pickups or do a repair, and you want to give it a go, and then you get frustrated or you can't do it, and you bring it to a tech for a repair, that's fine. There should be no upcharge to that. I applaud you for trying. I would appreciate you taking pictures of the way it looked before you started messing with it. That would help me a little bit. And more importantly, it will help you. I always tell everybody, take a picture of the way it is, then start messing with stuff, right? Read instructions, go slow. But that's my best advice. Take pictures, right? Because you can always put it back. You just got to match up what everything looks. And take good pictures. Like I said, most people's phones are fantastic. Charlie G wants to know, what's my thought on Fender lacquer guitars? I think they sound great because, that's that thing where it says they resonate differently. I don't know if that's true, but I do know this. I don't like the way they feel. They get gummy, right, on the necks and stuff. But I don't dislike them. I have lacquer guitars and polyurethane guitars. I try not to put too much thought into that because then you can only own one or the other because once you figure out one you don't like one. But they're fine. I don't love them. How about that? But I don't have any problems with them. Martin says, but you own 49 amps. I don't. I've said this before. I own 20 guitars. And I know when I say that, it could be 23 and it could be 18, but it will not be 50 and it will not be 10. I stay in a comfort zone of guitars. This is where I feel comfortable owning this amount of guitars. I feel like I can play this many guitars, cycling through, playing them, doing stuff. Amps are the same thing, and same with pedals. Pedals, to me, it's infinite because you know, right? Because I don't have to use them. There's not as much money tied up into them. But amps, you know, right? No, I don't have as many amps as you think. I do have a good amount though, but not 50. So let's see. Next one is the Blackstar HD5 on par with the PV6505 image quality and tone wise? No. The reason I say that is I'm not going to talk. I can't tell you how quality it versus like how well it holds up because I haven't heard of any one of them breaking. Although people might have those stories, I haven't seen it personally, so I don't know. But the HD5 is a great amp. I really like it. But having only a tone control on your clean channel versus the PV65 with features, it's really good. And I think the tone on the 6505 MH, the clean channel sounds fantastic on that amp. So they are close. I would give the win to PV, and that says a lot because PV's, you know, they're a mess a lot of times. Harry says he's a guitaraholic. I understand your pain. Let's see. Next one is Pump Murder says, is it true that the Squier Classic Vibe guitars are better than the Mexican Standard Fender guitars? Okay, good question. Think of it like this way. We will say better in the idea of features. Do they have more features? Yes. Think of it like how Fender thinks. They think, okay, so there's price points and then there's options like cars, right? So a Squier Classic will have more options and features and more fit and finish than a higher priced Mexican-made or American-made guitar because of the fact that it's made overseas. So yeah, in the better and the idea that it's features, yes, but then there's so many things to consider. The Mexican Standard will hold more value, right? It's not a bad guitar. Obviously, the Mexican Standard is a fantastic guitar. So you can't really argue which one's better, but I will tell you this: if you're on the fence of looking at them, A/B them, and you'll always come to a great conclusion. Right? So just touch them. That's how it works. Let's see. Next one, and we're gonna call it pretty soon. Let's see. Dan says, I'm trying not to collect pedals, but I'm losing. You know, I tell everybody, don't worry about collecting pedals. That's the one thing. You know, here's the deal. If you're concerned about practicality, right, your money, then you have to be practical about guitars and amps. You have to. But pedals, just buy them used and you're fine. Well, a great thing is this. Pedals used. If you buy a used pedal, it's usually used. It's worth what you paid. It's just, right? It's not that bad. So, Brian Santos says, any thoughts on Michael Kelly guitars? I have set up a lot. I've played a bunch. They're really cool. They have really cool bridges. They're really cool looks, exotic. You know, cool stuff. But, you know, it's like Schecter and everything else. There's just so many great brands. Can't own them all, but it's a great guitar. Bandit No Way Back says, Phil, did you see the Undercover Boss on PV? I did, and I did a video about it. Yeah, you know, it was a horrible, horrible idea from them. And you know, there's some things I think are bad in that video, and there's some things I think they got kind of hosed on. But overall, PV hasn't really treated me the best. I haven't had the best experiences with PV, so that's my issue with them. It's not like they did anything wrong to me. They just, I don't know. They're just not they're not a premium company in my mind for what they do and how they do stuff. I wish they would kind of revert back to the way they used to be. Yeah, Darkstorm says, I heard the PV show almost killed them. I think they're almost killing themselves. They make as many bad decisions as you can possibly make. So, and that's just how it is. And like I said, I say that as a PV fan, right? It's like watching your favorite sports team make bad decision after bad decision. You're a fan of the team, so it actually bugs you more because you like them, right? I like PV, so when they make bad decisions, it kind of sucks. David says, Boss Katana 50 or 100 for home use. David, the problem is they're both fantastic, but the 50 is $130 less, and there's not a whole lot to lose. The 100 watt is a little bigger sounding and fuller because of the size of the cabinet, and of course adding another 50 watts. So it's easy. I think if you don't care about $130 more, the 100 watt will give you a little fuller sound, maybe a little better, but you're not missing anything if you go with the 50. That's why the 50s are back ordered and the 100s are in stock, because everybody's kind of finding that to be the statement, the accurate statement. Both are great though. Okay, so it says, should I go with the should I go with the Les Paul Standard Plus top or the PRS SE 245 Standard? I like the PRS SE 245 Standard. Here's why. Comes with a really nice deluxe gig bag. It's a premium product from PRS, and so I would pick that personally. But but that would be me. I can only tell you what I would do, right? So in that case, I would definitely pick that. I'm looking at getting one again. I had 2 of them, SE 245s, the import ones, and I missed them. Yes, Tony93666 says, I can't get PV money. Yeah, think about this, Tony. I can beat you. PV owes me some money because they have a credit on the books, and I haven't been able to pull myself to use it. Because to use it, I have to add a little to it, and it's been driving me crazy. Driving me crazy in the idea I want to use the credit, and also driving me crazy because I don't want to add money to it. So I don't know what to do. So there you go. TigerBait.com. Phil, you never talk about Yamaha Rivstar guitars that came out last NAMM. I've seen YouTube demos and they seem really nice. You know what? It just fell under my radar. That happens, right? I can't. You lose track stuff. Yamaha's a booth I'll spend some time in. Then that'd be really fun, right? It's tough, right? Yamaha's a big company. They do pianos and stuff like that. So I'll try to put some time in. Again, because probably not a lot of people spent time with them last year. I'll try to do that. Rob says, Dingwall basses, that's it. Dingwall basses are fantastic. If you know the story of Dingwall, he kind of started the fan fret thing, and then his factory burned down, and then he was gone for a few years, and he came back, and then next thing I know, everybody's got a fan fret guitar, so I don't know if he gets a piece of that or what happened with that deal, or if he's even the original person, but he's the first instrument I ever saw with fan frets. Let's see. Phil, do I need to keep the string saddle on my Charvel SoCal if it has the nut locked? String saddle. No, not really. Because if it's locked, it doesn't need down pressure. I'm trying to think. String saddle. I think you mean like a string tree. So if it's a string tree or that little bar, you don't have to, but it's nice. But no, once you lock it, it's fine. Let's see. Next one, and we'll do 3 more, and we'll call it. Okay, ready? Let's see. And I'm gonna try to read a couple just because I want to try to see if I can. Okay, Eric Jason Brock says, Phil, have the Wampler triple rec currently. Should I look at the Freeman BEOD or the new Riverside pedal, or are there more of the same? Okay, the triple rec, good pedal. Freeman BOD is a better pedal, I think. All right, I would say that. It's torn, and if I just related when I did my top 10. I really believe this. Wampler, better fit and finish, better quality in the way the pedal's constructed. Triple rec's a better quality pedal. Same with that. The MXR 5150 pedal is a better quality built pedal than Freeman, but the Freeman's got the tone. So they're not more of the same because the triple rec and the Freeman are 2 different monsters. The triple rec is going for that 90s era Mesa Boogie sound, right? That sound that Mesa made, with the triple rec when it made it popular. But the Freeman BOD is that heavier 5150 amp and Marshall sound, right? Kind of a mixed together thing. It's really cool. The Riverside I'm not really sure about, but the Freeman BOD. But if the question is, should you get rid of the triple rec to get the Freeman BOD? I would say this. It's definitely worth A being, because it could be a get rid of the triple rec. I picked the BEOD over the triple rec, so there you go. And there you go. Let's see. Theo says, what do you think of Made in Japan Ibanez hollow bodies from the 80s? Well, I think Ibanez hollow bodies are amazing, and that's why I think George Benson plays them. I think they make some of the best hollow bodies out there. I think for hollow bodies, in my opinion, you know, Gibson's kind of known for them and Gretschen's known for them, but the best quality out there, definitely the Ibanez stuff. It just wins, right? Great stuff, and no logic in the pricing. Some of the stuff that's affordable from Ibanez is just some of the best stuff. But made in Japan stuff, like one of my friends has the Pat Metheny model made in Japan. It's perfect. They're just fantastically perfect. If I had the wherewithal to buy a hollow body for top dollar, I would probably look at the George Benson, you know, right? Just because I really like him and I like that guitar, and it's fantastic. So, Austin wants to know, what do you think of Purist guitars with Floyd Rose? That's a good question. I think Paul Reed Smith said he hated Floyd Rose forever and never put it on his guitars, and then he put them on his guitars. What was the first guitar he put them on? It was a CE, and it was the one that had the weird name. Remember, it had the EMGs and the, why can't I think of the name? Anyways, it was EMGs and a Floyd Rose. But here's the important part. Austin, what I think is that I think people asked for it, so he did it. One of the times I visited the factory, they were building some private stock, crazy expensive neck-through PRS Custom 24, and they were putting a Floyd Rose on it for the customer. So I think it's, if the customer wants it, I don't prefer it. I can't knock a Paul Reed Smith tremolo out of tune anyway, so I don't need the Floyd. They sound, you know, Floyd Roses have a lot of mass, and I think that actually gives them a sound. I think that's why a lot of guitar players who have Floyds on their Strats don't switch back. So, because I think that mass makes the strings reverberate differently and maybe changes the way the pickups pick them up. Let's see. Richard Ross says, what do you think of the Tune-o-matic style bridges, and why is it still so prevalent in today's guitars? Well, Richard, it's because, well, one thing's easy. Tradition is tradition, right? We like what we like. It's kind of like why I want a 91 Ibanez and some old Jims, because it's, you know, right? It's what was around. So that's why, right? I agree. There's so much better components out today, but, you know, you can't beat the idea that, you know, the way it was apparently better, and so that's why. And the next, I just want to get this one quick because it says, Phil, have you ever compared any Les Paul T models against the HP models? Not side by side, so I can't really speak to them in difference, but they've never really kind of flagged me as being much different in how they feel and play to the point where I can notice. Mr. Tralla says, vintage or modern? Thoughts? Vintage or modern guitars? I like vintage-looking guitars with all modern features. That's my main guitar is a Strat that, you know, so a Strat's kind of a vintage guitar, and the idea is that it was been around for a long time, and it has all modern features. Humbuckers, modern tremolo, push-in whammy bar, locking tuning keys. That's what I like. I think that's what I preferably like. I like things like, even this Gretsch. Think of this, my Gretsch here, locking, I don't know, there it is. Gretsch, locking tuning keys, pin bridge, right? Some, you know, modern features. I like modern features on vintage-looking guitars. Let's see. Okay, I know I said it, we're done, but there's a lot of you guys on here. There's almost 390, so we'll do 2 more, and then I'll call it. Okay. Let's see. And... okay, have you tried clear tone acoustic strings? Do you like and sell them? They're pricey. Paul, exactly. They're pricey. That's it. I had no problems with quality. In fact, I did a video where I was breaking strings and I broke their strings as well. And you know, great stuff. My only thing is they're the same price as Elixir. So let's talk about it this way, as 2 different points of view. As someone who has to sell the stuff, Elixir has a huge following. They have a huge following, and they're loyal. And so you can't break Elixir customers away from Elixirs. So Cleartone can't give you any market over that. And then you have to educate everybody else who doesn't know about Cleartone. So, but the quality strings are great. They're just pricey like Elixir. But Elixir's brand, let's be honest, we all know Elixir is the known brand for coated strings, and that's never going to go away. So it doesn't matter how many people, even if they can make them better, they're going to have to beat these guys, and it's impossible. So, let's see. Harry Evans said, hey, Phil, I found a Fender Hot Rod DeVille for $400. Is that a good price used? Yeah, right. $400 for a DeVille. That's the 212 or the 410. Sounds like a good deal to me. Right? I look at amps like that. If you're savvy and you know what you're looking at, $400 a good deal. If you don't, what you've got to factor in is what does it cost to fix it, and you could be looking at $100 to $200 in fixes and tubes and stuff, and so you're still in a safe area, right? Because the amps are that amp's like $900, right? $899 for a DeVille. Let's see. D-Nut says, what's your opinion on the Fender American Standard? I own 2 of them and I like them. And there was another one. Wait, what's it? Phil, almost 400 viewers. Yeah, right, Harry? That's crazy. Would you buy or own a guitar with a vintage? Whoa, I moved. What about with a 7.25 radius? So Charlie, I have owned guitars with 7.25 radius. I have hard trouble falling in love with them. But what I found with 7.25 radius, the rounded fretboard radius, is when it is right, it is a magical neck radius, right? If the guitar plays great and it just lines up, you know, all the stars align, the neck's good and setup's great. But when they're wrong, they're horrible, you know. So for me, because I like them flatter, I prefer 12, so I'm not even a 9.5. My main Strat is a 12-inch radius. So, but I play all radiuses, but I prefer 12. Let's see. And then this is, I'm going to try to get the last one. One more time. Okay, here's a question. Kevin wants to know, any advice on a solution for poor AC, something between an amp and a wall socket? Like you're having bad noise and stuff? That's the worst. Power conditioning is the only way I know to fix it. You know, right? You got to get a rack mount power conditioning or a power conditioner. Ricardo says, Phil, you ever owned a Fender custom shop? I do. I have. That's my Copper Strat. It's called. How do they compare to the normal range? They're almost the same. They're slightly better, marginally. But, you know, I had to get it out of my system. I bought it. And once you buy one, I can tell you with custom shop, if you buy a new one like I did, once you buy a new one, you ever sell it, it's just how much money do you want to lose. So I've just learned to love it over the years, and I do love it. I just, so, let's see. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it now. And I really appreciate you guys checking out today and doing this. I will be at the NAMM next week. I will be posting tons of stuff everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I will be doing live feeds. I will be doing uploads. I will plan to be working and doing a lot of work. This is my first NAMM show. I've been to 12 of them. This is my first NAMM show doing videos and content like this. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. So I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel and supporting me on this. And I really appreciate you guys checking out the information I'm putting up, because it's really cool. It really makes it really pay off. And again, as always, guys, thank you so much. It's really cool. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And if that's it, which it is, you guys have a great day.